Um, okay, great. So tell us what you were doing before Year Up, how you heard about the program, and why you decided to join.
Sure. So before Year Up, I was working full-time as an assistant manager at the movie theaters. I was also doing part-time schooling at Solano Community College for photography. I actually had a colleague that introduced me to Year Up, and she inspired me to join by, I just noticed her development throughout her training. And I for sure wanted to give it an opportunity because at my job, I felt like I reached my ceiling, and I just wanted to challenge myself. And I took advantage of the opportunity, and yeah.
And why technology?
Technology. So, of course, we live in a generation where technology is, yeah. So, of course, I want to be, how do you say this, more involved in it, in the sense of how we are, in the sense of, in my future workplace, I'm pretty sure we're gonna be involved in technology. So I want to take advantage of knowing of why things work and how it works.
Okay.
Okay, so tell me about a time you missed a deadline.
Mhm.
What were some of the things that you did to fail, and what were the repercussions, and what did you learn from this experience?
So a time that I missed the deadline, I would say it would have to be, it was for my CIS 202 class. We had a week to do 9 assignments, and honestly, like, I'm working right now, you can say, not really full-time, but close to full-time to help support myself. So I didn't really have enough time to basically break down all those assignments within the week. I almost did miss the deadline, but I did actually miss the deadline, but I communicated with my instructor, Jesus, to ask for an extension. I told him the reasons why. He understood, and he gave me another day, and I was able to complete the task, or assignments.
Okay. So what's your biggest challenge or growth area during learning and development? We're a third of the way through now. And how did you overcome this challenge? And then what specifically will you do to plan ahead to ensure that you're set up for success during internship? So your biggest challenge?
Biggest challenge.
Or growth area during L&D. What did you do to overcome that challenge? And then specifically, what will you do to plan ahead to ensure that you're set up for success in this area for internship?
So my biggest challenge, I would say, is just being more involved in the classroom, to where I need to ask more questions, like be more involved in, like, giving, how would I say this, like participating more. Because personally, I'm an introvert, to where I'm very quiet and tend to keep to myself. A way that I've been working on that is just asking small questions, It doesn't have to be very big or anything, but at least it's a question. So that's what I've been doing. And what was the third part of it?
So then the third part is specifically what will you do to plan ahead to ensure that you're set up for success in internship?
Basically, just pushing myself. There will be times when I'll need to participate, and like, I'll just jump at it, instead of just sitting back and just being or not relaxed, but being in the, standing in the corner, but more of getting in there.
Okay. So if we review the internship description,
Yeah.
right? You got some interns descriptions. Explain what makes you a strong candidate for the technical internship.
Okay. So personally, I'm great at troubleshooting. An example is, I remember during Rory's class, it was CIS, actually it was Network 101. one of the computers actually couldn't boot up. So he gave me the task of actually doing it myself. At first, I didn't know what to do, so I just researched it myself. I typed in what was the issue on Google, and what I did, I found steps to basically solve that issue because the computer basically wasn't booting up correctly. So I booted it straight from the network, and it was able to go through.
Good.
Yeah.
So is it more important for you to lead, or is it important to compromise, and why?
That's a good question. I would say for sure both would be great. That leadership would show how you could take initiative and show what you could do. But at the same time, I feel like,
Go ahead.
yeah, just being, of course, and you said better to compromise.
Yeah.
So in terms of just being a team,
So just in terms of the words themselves, is it important to lead, or is it important to compromise? Just overall, like if you had a manager, would you feel like that was something important for them to do?
like, I'm sorry, can you just define compromise for me?
Compromise in terms of, okay, everybody wants to do the same task because they all think they're really good at it.
Yeah.
So who's going to compromise and say, no, you go ahead and do this, and
Do
I'll
that.
take the lower role?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So basically, okay. For sure. You'd want to. Sorry, let me have a second to think about this. Let's say. All right, can you repeat the question one more time, please? I'm sorry.
Is it more important to lead, or is it more important to compromise, and why?
Yeah, personally, I would say it's more important to lead. But at the same time, you're going to have to listen. As a leader, I feel like you're going to have to compromise too, because you're going to have to listen to other people's suggestions, Because a leader doesn't really just lead, I believe. He takes into account of everyone's opinion. Because, of course, there's different perspectives of how to go through, like, a task. Like some people would believe that they're stronger at this, or like troubleshooting, and another person would be stronger at like web developing, right? So that's where I feel like everyone should put their input, and the leader should basically judge off of that.
Okay.
And what is your career goal immediately after after graduation?
So personally, I do want to continue with education, for it could help further me in my career field, because of course this will take me to the step, or basically get my foot in the door, but at the same time I want to grow personally, where I could be able to find a career that could help me financially, and something that will set me up in the future, and such as supporting a family. That's
So what makes you stand out among your peers in the workplace?
I would say my smile. But another thing would be I'm very resilient, hardworking. Any task that you'd put in front of me, I'm for sure going to go accomplish it, no matter how big or small it is. And yeah.
Can you give us an example of that, like a task that you would accomplish?
Accomplish?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a good one. Honestly, there's this web development project that we have to create our own website.
Mm-hmm.
And personally, I'm not the greatest coder, but at the same time, I'm willing to learn. So I try my best, in such as asking my resources, like colleagues, not professors, but staff, for help, of course. I would also ask friends too, because I have friends that are great at coding. So you really utilize all my resources in that.
All right. Describe a system that you use to stay organized. How do you track deadlines, action items, follow-ups?
I actually have a planner. I didn't bring it with me, but that's how I usually keep track of all my assignments. I prioritize them by deadlines first, and once I finish those assignments, I'd work on the projects that that are really heavy, to where I would have to really focus on. So I can just break that down into sections instead of working on that big project all at once.
Okay.
One more question? Do you
Sure.
have time? Okay. So Europe is a very structured environment.
Yeah.
And you're about to move into an internship where you'll have far less structure and a lot more downtime. So what is your plan to ensure that you're successful in this type of environment?
Of course, just taking the initiative to do more than what is expected, you know. Like, I'm pretty sure I'm going to get like a list of tasks that I have to accomplish. But at the same time, you could do more than just accomplish them. You know, you could do like, expand on it, like such as like finding easier routes to do it. And then you could probably help other colleagues, you know, that probably might take a longer time to finish those tasks. Of course, like, I wouldn't want to bother my boss and constantly asking him, what do I need to get done? So I want to take the initiative to like find that work for myself.
That's a great answer.
Good. So I have just one more question before I ask you to do a quick tech scenario. This
Sure.
is off the grid. It's,
Sure.
it's nothing that's
Okay.
on the papers. But if I asked you what your definition of happiness is, what is it?
Oh, that's great. My definition of happiness is just being content, you know, like everyone could be, how do you say this? Really like, I don't know, just content to like where you don't need, personally, I'm not a person that does, I'm not really materialistic or anything, as long as I got what I want, you know, like in a sense of, to be honest, if I see, I'm really, how I getting happiness is by seeing others. Like, that's really it.
Okay, good. So let's say that we, Celicia and I were doing a Word document
Yes.
and we wanted to save that Word document
Mhm.
in PDF. How do we do that?
So you'd pull up the file. Basically, it feels like a resume or something. Pull it up, and then you'd go on the far top left corner under File, click it, and under you'll have like a section, and there it would say Save As. You'd click that, and then it'll pop up, you know, the file name, file type, and file location. So you'd want to change the file type to a PDF instead of a docx, and then save, and then it should be transferred or changed to a PDF.
Cool, very good. All right, Dale, any other questions?